First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
Upset about the new fees banks are creating to take your money? Find out what you can do to keep that money in your pocket. And an emergency landing at a local shopping center. Plus,
these cubs are sleeping now, but it was a different story this morning in Suffolk. I'll have the very latest coming up next.
a mother bear and her two cubs stirred traffic today in Suffolk.
The mother didn't make it across Route 58 without being hit, but her two cubs did, climbing up a couple of trees. That's where 10 on your side's Melanie Woodrow picks up our story. Melanie, where are those cubs now?
Well, Nicole, they were taken to Richmond to be examined by a veterinarian. As wildlife biologists explain, the cubs can't survive on their own just yet. As traffic backed up,
they can fall a lot farther and take a lot harder hit than you'd expect.
Wildlife biologists looked up.
We decided that at the very least we need to come see.
A driver hit this mother bear this morning.
I got calls earlier the first half of this summer about a sow and two cubs at the airport here in Suffolk, hanging around. So this could have been the same bear.
Her two cubs immediately climbed trees. Wildlife biologists Aaron Proctor and Steve Living needed to get them down for their safety and drivers.
They're good Samaritans, they want to help, but that creates a distraction.
As police diverted traffic, Proctor took aim. The first cub came down easily. The second was a bit trickier. Even this bucket couldn't reach. The biologists were eventually able to push the cub out.
They're incredibly relaxed and limp once they've been under the immobilizing drugs.
This is the third call they've received this year for bears in southern Hampton Roads.
We think there's been good reproduction.
It's not just the bears getting busy. Large amounts of rain could also be a factor. Plus, Suffolk tends to have a large bear population. These cubs resting comfortably now lost their mom when they needed her most.
Being that she's still lactating, they're not able to survive on their own right now.
Two cubs orphaned in an accident that could have been even more devastating. And police tell me they're not sure who the driver was that hit that mother bear this morning. Her body has been given to Public Works. Melanie Woodrow, 10 on your side.
Bear sightings are becoming all too common in Hampton Roads. In July, you might remember this bear cub stuck in a tree in Suffolk. The black bear eventually made his way down on his own. About a week before that, this guy was spotted off of Town Point Road in 164. He was released closer to home. Wildlife experts think the bear came from the Great Dismal Swamp looking for a mate. And remember Shadow? Wildlife teams at the Virginia Beach oceanfront tranquilized him after he ran up a tree in April. Crews lowered Shadow from the tree and took him to his new home in the Dismal Swamp.
Attention shoppers, this is not about a sale or a deal, but something quite scary from out of the sky in Williamsburg. The shopping center on Richmond Road became a makeshift runway around noon. Two people were on board when the Cessna clipped a parking garage before making quite a bumpy landing. Then on your side's chopper pilot John Massey was above as investigators tried to figure out what happened.
I'm John Massey. We're above an accident scene that happened in Williamsburg this morning at approximately 11 a.m. The Cessna 172 that you're taking a look at came down just off of Richmond Road near the High Street garage. Now, it did clip a light pole before coming to rest. Significant damage done to the aircraft. As a matter of fact, that aircraft's going to be totaled. The pilot and passenger reported as uninjured by Williamsburg Fire and Rescue once they arrived on scene. Now, the aircraft is registered to a Hans Copper, age 81, of Williamsburg. We don't know at this point exactly where he was headed with his passenger, but again, they are reported as uninjured. Reporting from Chopper 10, I'm John Massey, 10 on your side.
The National Transportation Safety Board will investigate. It could be 6 months before we hear the findings.
We now know the name of the bicyclist hit by a car in Virginia Beach. Police say 20-year-old Ariel Santafol was riding her bike on Wesleyan Drive just after 8 last night when a driver hit her as the vehicle was making a right turn onto Baker Road. A 10 on your side viewer sent us a picture of the scene. We're told Santafol was not wearing a helmet or reflective gear, and police say she was seriously hurt. The driver is not facing charges at this time. The crash is still under investigation. EMS crews took a state trooper to the hospital after a suspected drunk driver hit him. The trooper was trying to help a disabled tractor trailer in Southampton County when he was hit. The driver, Deborah Juneman, was charged with DUI and possession of marijuana. The trooper is expected to be okay. At least one person was hurt after a car fire at the downtown tunnel. Firefighters had to pound on the car's hood to get to the engine. But 10 on your side got to the scene. The fire was already out, but you can see it was still smoldering there. It happened just outside the westbound tube on the Portsmouth side at around 1 this morning. No word on a cause of that fire.
I always ask myself, how long could it last? I mean, these 2 days we had were just perfect.
Yeah, one more day. That's it.
One more day.
One more
You hear
day.
that, folks?
That's
One more day.
answer.
Something's coming.
Yeah, over the weekend, obviously, very, very nice and cool. Lots of sunshine. Today, lots of sunshine, few clouds, but basically very warm. And we saw temperatures near 80 degrees or into the low to mid 80s. Tomorrow, it's likely to be near 80 degrees again. But that's it, because on Wednesday, the bottom's going to drop out with very heavy rainfall into the area and wind. So very active day during the day on Wednesday. That rain is going to be very quick and very, very heavy, mainly during the morning hours, and then taper off in the afternoon. Significantly cooler weather again coming up for Thursday and Friday. Part of the problem with this heavy rain is that it could originate, is likely to originate into the tropics right on up. Now, it's not going to be a tropical storm, but it's going to be tropical moisture lifting northward with a cold front. Now, that cold front is out into here right now. You can see where I've drawn, again, on the left-hand portion of your screen. That thing is going to move eastward, but it's going to tap into that tropical moisture and lift it right on through the area, which will set things into motion between now all the way into Wednesday evening. And again, zoom, look at that thing moving on through. Very, very heavy slug of rain moving through coming up on Wednesday morning, and we'll tell you how much rain and give you some timing with all of that. That'll be coming up with our forecast in just a few minutes.
President Obama is heading to Hampton Roads tomorrow, but he made a stop in North Carolina this morning. He kicked off his 3-day bus tour in Asheville, calling on Congress to follow up on last week's Senate vote that shelved his jobs plan.
If they vote against taking steps that we know will put Americans back to work right now, then they're not going to have to answer to me. They're going to have to answer to you.
The president's now planning to break the bill up and vote on it piece by piece, have lawmakers do that. He's bringing that message to Virginia tomorrow. We're going to be live in Emporia and Hampton for both events. And coming up on WAVY News 10 at 5:30.
There's a good chance it's already on your laptop, and local detectives say it'll actually help them solve burglaries if you use it. I'm Katie Collette. Coming up, we'll talk CompuTrace.
You and I spoke about this morning on the drive-in, just this amount of cars, the speed, just the chance for what they call the big one.
The big one did happen, killing superstar driver Dan Weldon. Tonight, hear what other drivers had to say about the track before the race ever started.
And it's being called the Handshake, heard round the world. Tonight, hear what both football coaches have to say about it.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Ribas, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Now to a deadly tragedy that has the racing world in mourning.
Indy 500 champion Dan Weldon was killed in one of the worst racetrack collisions in the history of the sport. It happened just minutes after the start of the race in Vegas on Sunday. 2 cars bumped, setting off a chain reaction. The 15-car crash left fire, smoke, and pieces of metal scattered across the track there. Weldon was a racing veteran with 134 starts. He won the Indy 500 twice, taking home his 2nd trophy in May.
What a great friend, one of my best friends, a great teammate.
He's a friend of all of us. He'll be missed.
My wish right now it's for his family, for his kids, for everyone around him.
Before the race, several drivers expressed concern that the track was running too fast as drivers reached 225 miles per hour in practice. A public memorial for Weldon is being planned, but a date has not been set yet. 2 other drivers were released from the hospital today.
He also suspended the race there, too. Incredible pictures. Apparently, a football coach got a little too excited after a big NFL win. San Francisco's coach Jim Harbaugh was a little too excited at the end of his team's victory over Detroit yesterday. San Francisco coach Harbaugh gave rival Detroit coach Jim Schwartz a hearty handshake and a slap on the back as they left the field, but Schwartz didn't like it, wasn't too happy about it. See his reaction there? He chased Harbaugh down, and then watch this. He bumped into him. Both later had to be separated. Here's what both men had to say afterwards.
That's totally on me. I shook his hand too hard. I mean, I really went in, and it was a strong, kind of a slap, grab, handshake.
I just say this. I just say that, you know, it was a big win for them, and they were excited about it, and I think I'll just leave it there.
Okay. Consider the Detroit Lions were undefeated before the 49ers ended that streak. The Niners moved up to 5-1. They are leading the NFC West.
New fees are putting one bank at the bottom of most people's list.
I switched from Bank of America to Navy Federal.
But there are a few things you should know before you switch. We're on your side with what to look out for. Then there's no known cure for autism, but a new study may have discovered a cause. We'll tell you what researchers found.
Beautiful day throughout the area, obviously. Beautiful weekend. It was in the 70s over the weekend, 70s yesterday. 84 degrees was our high temperature so far for today for much of the area. It's going to be almost as warm tomorrow. But we got something moving in. You'll want to see that in our forecast.
All right, a lot of you are upset about this, those new bank fees creating to take your money, and we have news for you.
You don't have to take it. 10 on your side, Stephanie Harris sat down with an advisor who has some tips for taking control of your financial future. Steph?
Well, guys, most of us use debit cards these days, and if you don't like the new fees, bankers say, blame Congress. New regulations cap the fees that they collect from retailers, so they're making less every time you swipe your card. But short of cutting up your cards, what can you actually do about it now?
Jeffrey Davis uses his ATM or debit card almost every day. It's convenient, but it's costing him.
Swipe the card, yeah, they charge me $1.25 out the account.
New additional debit fees have many, like Davis, bank shopping.
You don't just walk into a bank and say, I want to open up an account, and expect them all to be the same.
Financial advisor Lonnie Broussard told 10 on your side, consumers need to ask questions and read the fine print when your bank sends a letter.
The ones that we would normally throw away as junk mail, they're not junk anymore.
New legislation requires banks to inform customers of all fees, like Bank of America did 2 weeks ago.
I switched from Bank of America to Navy Federal.
Many are following Mariah Pace to credit unions and community banks. Navy Federal, the nation's largest credit union, told us they've opened more new checking accounts in the last 4 months than ever before. No fees equals happy customers.
Gas, groceries, what couldn't I do with $30 extra a week?
But big banks are often more convenient. If that's your choice, many will waive fees if you keep a certain account balance. If yours doesn't qualify, consider combining accounts, say a savings and a checking. If you're disciplined, switch to credit cards and pay them off every month. If not, there's always Broussard's envelope method.
Instead of using credit cards, or even debit cards for that matter, you can just take cash with you and pay cash for things. It seems crazy. It seems just totally out of character for what we do in our culture because it's all about plastic, but cash works.
And the bottom line is banks are a business. They report to shareholders, so they have to make money. If you want to make sure that money isn't yours, you have to stay informed. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
And some members of Congress are asking the Justice Department to investigate whether new debit card fees are illegal.
Now, in high definition, your Super Dot for 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
Beautiful weather for the evening and into tomorrow, but we do have, again, there's one of those things where you just kind of alert, alert, alert. We got a big day coming up on Wednesday, and that's what the alert is for. Tomorrow looks great. Here's a look at what's going on. Weather will really affect your day coming up Wednesday. It's not anything hugely dangerous, but again, it's likely to be a real messy day for Wednesday. Here's what's going on right now. We got one more day, and then the bottom falls out, and really since the end of last week, we've been really kind of putting the caution flags up coming up on this coming Wednesday because of the amount of rain we're going to get and the amount of wind that we're going to get. And it's not tomorrow, but Wednesday. Here's where we are tomorrow at early in the day. Here's where we are at the noon hour. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. A few clouds around, but a lot of cloud cover around by 7 o'clock in the evening. Rain beginning to hit Hatteras Island, but by the midnight hour, I think we'll be overspread with some light rain, some heavier rain across Hatteras Island. Southeasterly winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. hour. Now, we've got a cold front moving in, and there's a low pressure system into the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. That low is going to get caught up ahead of that cold front and start lifting on northeastward into our area. Here's where things are by Wednesday morning at 7. We will have had some rain by then, some wind, but the bulk of the rain and the wind are going to be occurring on Wednesday morning through around the noon hour, 1 o'clock in the afternoon by the looks of things right now. Look at 10 o'clock in the morning, 15 to 25 mile an hour winds. Very likely that we'll see some brief, very heavy rains into the area. It's not going to be an all-day kind of rain thing where you see 2 inches of rain. It'll be 2 inches of rain, 1.5 to 2 inches of rain arriving within an hour or two, and that's a lot. So again, there'll be some street flooding rain possible coming up on Wednesday morning by the noon hour. Look at the wind, 25, 35 miles an hour, and gusting higher at times. Then things settle on down. Still a few showers into the area at the end of the day. It's still a bit breezy, but again, the bulk of the action will happen between around 7 o'clock and around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Here's where we are on Wednesday morning, for example. Half an inch of rain, 3/4 of an inch of rain more to the south. That's Wednesday morning at 8. We take you to Wednesday afternoon at 1. That half inch becomes 1.63, 1.16, and from there on in, we could get a little more rain, but not that awfully much into the area. So again, it'll be Wednesday morning and early afternoon when we see the bulk of this rainfall into the area. And again, it's 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rain within just a short time. 80 degrees again for tomorrow. We'll see the clouds move on into the area. Here's where we are for Wednesday during the day. During the morning, we've got some tropical-like air lifting northward into the area, tropical humidity, so temperature doesn't drop all that much. And it rises up to around 78, 80 degrees during the day coming up on Wednesday, even with the amount of rainfall that we've got into the area. Again, it'll be tropical air that's lifting on northward, not a tropical storm, but we could see some very tropical-like rains into the area on Wednesday. 72, 79, 80 degrees into the area. Most areas generally around the 80-degree mark. A little cooler right now. Into Newport News and Hampton. Elsewhere, though, it's generally into the low 80s throughout the region. And again, skies are mostly sunny. We've got a few stray clouds, and that's about it into the area. We're not going to see much in the way of cloud cover overnight. 60 for an overnight low. During the day for tomorrow, that increase in cloud cover throughout the day. Highs around 80 degrees. Here's where we are for Tuesday. Again, that increase in cloud cover, 80. Around 78 on Wednesday, and as I've been harping on here now, the bulk of the rain, 1.5 inches, 2 inches or more into the area, and most of it will happen during the morning hours of Wednesday. Thursday looks fine, much cooler, a little breezy, and then a lot cooler coming up by Friday and Saturday with nighttime lows in the 40s, highs only around 60, 62 degrees. So again, one more very nice day, then lots of rain and wind on Wednesday.
Are these sweet tarts or Tums? Turns out most kids don't know. That's a big problem because most accidental drug overdoses involving kids happen at home. Find out what you need to know to stay safe.
Then at 5:30, calling it quits. The United Football League is cutting its season short. What does that mean for Virginia Beach and the Destroyers? We sent 10 on your side's Andy Fox on the trail to get answers.
News anchor Juliana Rancic revealed today she has breast cancer. The host made the emotional announcement on the Today Show this morning. She found the tumor during a mammogram while preparing for in vitro fertilization. She says the cancer has been detected early and the prognosis is good. She's married to former Apprentice winner Bill Rancic. She will have surgery this week and then undergo 6 weeks of radiation therapy. Doctors say getting mammograms can be scary, but women need to do it. They say don't be afraid if they call you after the exam for more tests. A study shows women who have yearly mammograms at age 40 have at least one false positive. Many of those women have a biopsy only to find out they don't have the disease. The bottom line, it's better to be safe than sorry.
And new research suggests many parents aren't making their medicine cabinets as child-proof as they should be, considering a lot of those pills look like candy. A new study says more than 1 in 4 kindergartners couldn't tell the difference between candy and over-the-counter meds. So the experts say it is crucial that all medicines are locked up or put out of reach.
Kids are curious. They really want to try and get into whatever they can get their hands on.
Now, teachers who were asked to distinguish between candy and pills, teachers didn't do much better than kids, mixing up the two 22% of the time.
Low birth rate babies may face an increased risk for autism. Researchers followed over 600 babies who weighed no more than 4 pounds when they were born. They found those babies were 5 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism when compared to the general population. In future studies, researchers are going to look at whether complications related to premature birth, such as brain hemorrhage, cause the increased risk for the disorder.
Great weekend to eat. Great
Oh,
night.
yeah.
Great event last night to benefit premature babies.
Glad I got in a double workout before this. This was all part of the March of Dimes Signature Chefs auction at the Founders Inn in Virginia Beach. Ariane Aramburo and I were the MCs for the foodie event. We tasted some delicious dishes. Dinner, dessert. One executive chef says he comes every year in honor of his 2 nieces.
They were born too early, so they were born at maybe 2 to 3 pounds apiece, and they were in incubators for a long time, and now anything I can do to help out the kids, we're there for them.
In the past, this event raised more than $33,000 for the cause. If you didn't make it out, you can still donate to the March of Dimes, and you can look at pictures on my Facebook page. We put a link to this, though, on WAVY.com.
I want to see Nicole Livas eating all that great food.
Well, you'll see me with a plate in my hand.
Remember when your parents told you, Nicole, to finish everything on your plate? Well, now you might have to pay up if you don't follow that advice.
Then you may get a new alert from your cell phone company. We're on your side explaining what this means for your bill. New at 5:30.
Oh my God, what a great idea. Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah. A restaurant in Saudi Arabia.
Mic check, mic check.
Thank you.
No, I'm eating food at the Signature Chefs auction. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye. Thank
No.
A restaurant in Saudi Arabia is fining customers, that's right, fining them who don't finish their meals. The restaurant owner says he got the idea from a friend in Somalia where there is massive famine. He says the fine is a way of raising awareness about that issue. Customers say they were shocked at first when they saw the fine added on their bills, but the owner says most appreciate what he's doing. You take it home with you, make a second meal. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.